Well, I gave this some thought on this fender, and it's too wiggly. So I'm going to try to make a couple of stays. So what I did is I found some, what is this, 1/8 inch? Yeah, this is 1/8 inch thick, 1/2 inch wide, 36 inch long aluminum flat bar. And I made a mark on it right in the middle, which would be at 18 inches. And I think what I can do is I can hand bend this to the shape of the fender. Now, at first my thought was, now the fender measures 4 inches across. And at first my thought was, you know, get something round like a 4-inch can or something like that and bend it to it. Now, I could also, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach to where my foot pegs used to be. So I can not have to drill anything. I can use this existing screw hole, and I could just attach this, cut it and attach it, drill holes and just rivet it in. But I think I kind of like the idea of having a brace that goes all the way across. So I got 2 of these. So if I screw one of these up, it's not a big deal. I got another one. Or I can just cut it off and just go with plan B, which is just to run a strut from here up to here somewhere. But this is just too wiggly. I don't like that. So I want to firm it up a little bit. So that's what I'm going to try to do. So I'm going to pause this camera here, and I'm going to see if I can bend this a little bit by hand, and then I'll come back. Alright, so I kind of got this bent, but I can see that this is not going to work. The contour of it, you know, the bending came out as far as that goes. But the problem is now is it's not going to line up. It's not going to line up with the screws. So I'm going to have to cut this and make 2 separate struts so that it'll just go from the screw to, I can make it at any point on the fender, and it's still going to do the same thing. It's going to stiffen it up. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at this a little bit more and see if I can come up with something else. Alright, so this is kind of what I come up with. You can see I got the contour of the fender bent, and then I bent it square with the side so it can fit on here. It fits pretty nice, but obviously you can see it doesn't line up. It needs to come down to this point. So now my options are, I can either try to bend this way, which is really hard to do. This is what they would call bending it the hard way. Or I can just make a mark on the fender right here, cut it off, and then attach it here and here with either a rivet or a bolt. I just like the idea of having this across because it's going to add some additional stiffness so that, you know, the fender, it can't bend then. You know, it can't squeeze in and then continue to wiggle. I don't want it to wiggle around, so not really sure what I'm going to do yet. Okay, so apparently I left this thing recording when I walked away, so there was a lot of dead recording there. Let's see, I'm going to stop this. So there's been a lot of going back and forth, and I've slowly been hitting this on the arbor press and bringing it down. So now I find that if I go in between the two rivets here where I join the fender together, it matches pretty good. And then when I'm going to put a rivet through here, and that'll be through both layers of plastic, so that'll be really strong. And then it lines up with this first screw here. So I'm going to mark it for where I'm going to cut it here, and then drill a hole for the screw, and I'm going to take a file and file all these little divots from, you know, bending it with the square, you know, part of the arbor press there, and I'm going to paint it black. So I'm going to pause this. Okay, so now what I've done is I held this up and I made a mark where I want to drill a hole, and I did it on both sides. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my automatic center punch, and I'm going to center punch this so hopefully the drill bit doesn't walk on it when I'm trying to drill it. And this is aluminum, so it's going to drill really easy. Now what I did is I used a bit that's larger than it needs to be, so that I got a little wiggle room. Let's see if I can find a piece of scrap wood here. This way I can drill into this. So I went with a 1/4" bit, and these are metric screws. These are 6mm screws. I think yeah, they're either 6mm or 5mm. Anyway, it's going to give me a little bit of wiggle room for adjustment. Alright, there's the first one. Let's get the second one here. Alright, easy peasy, nothing to it. Alright, so now, before I bolt, I'm going to bolt this on and see how everything lines up. But before I do that, I'm going to go to my grinder, I'm going to round all these corners off, and I'm going to kind of try to smooth out some of these dimples from the arbor press. So I should be able to sand some of these off. Eventually I'm going to take a file and I'll file this side to get these dimples off, so it's nice and flat and you won't see it once it's all painted. It'll just clean it up and make it look a little better. So I'm going to shut you off and I'm going to take care of that. Okay, I kind of rounded off the ends of this, and I ground this on this side and on this side and its edges to get rid of the arbor press marks. And so now all I'm doing is I clamped it down on a piece of wood, and I'm just going to use a flat file, and you can see where it knocks down all the little high spots that it created from the arbor press. And this is just aluminum, so it doesn't really take much. Doesn't take much effort. I just clamp it down so it doesn't walk around on me. Alright, so the outside. You gotta do the same thing to the inside. You know, if you're gonna make something, take the time, clean it up, make it look good. If you don't have time to do it right the first time, when you're gonna find time to do it right the second time? Alright, so now that's pretty good. It didn't take much. It took all them little dimples off, made it nice and flat. Now I got a burr on this edge. So I'm just going to take some sandpaper and break that edge just so I don't ever cut my hand on it. And then all I got to do is paint it up. Now this is the screw that's going to hold it down, and that fits right in there. Gives me a little bit of wiggle room. I think this is going to look real nice when it's done. Okay, now another thing I'm going to do before I paint it is I mark the holes for the rivets. I'm going to drill those out before I paint it. And there again, I'm going to use my automatic punch, center punch the hole. And then just drill it out. There's one. Let's get this center one. It kind of walked a little bit. I didn't think it was going to do that. It'll be all right. Alright, so that should fit one of these 3/16 rivets. Maybe I gotta go to the next size up. Oh no, that fit good. See, so that'll fit good. That's a pretty stout rivet. Might get one that's got a longer leg on it, like this one here. These are stainless. I'll probably use these. Oh yeah, that's a lot longer. So it's got to go through a couple layers of plastic, and then I'll put a washer on the back side. And the same thing up here. Now, once I'm all done, being that these are silver, I might just come by with a paintbrush and just paint them black. Alright, so that's what I got for tonight's progress. Come home from work, about an hour, I fabbed up a nice little bracket. Now I gotta get it painted. Okay, so I got the bracket all painted up, and now I'm gonna get ready to put it on. So what I need to do is I need to drill a hole here. So I'm going to use this kind of as my indicator on where it's got to go. And I'll get it kind of lined up. And I think what I want to do is I want to put it right in between these two rivets. That way when I drill a hole in the center here, it'll be through both layers of the plastic. Now, I might have to just mark this hole. I gotta find a Sharpie. Now here we go. Once again, black on black, but I think I'll be able to see it. So I'm gonna make sure this is centered. Right in between the rivets. That looks pretty good. It's a fine point Sharpie. Yep, left a mark on there I can see pretty good. So now, what I have to drill this is in kind of a tight spot. So I got this, I don't know if you can see it, I got a nice right angle drill. And that should allow me to get in here pretty close anyway. If I can drill a hole in it without drilling a hole in my tire. There we go. And hopefully I should be able to get a rivet in that. Let's see, what do we got for rivets over here? I got some stainless steel rivets. I don't want them too long. Alright, I had some little washers. What did I do with them? Alright, so let me show you what the plan is here. Let's get this set back on. Now what I got is stainless 3/16 rivet and a washer. So I want to put the rivet through everything. Oh, I got paint in the hole. It's going to make it a little difficult. Alright, let's get the drill and clean this hole out so I can get the rivet in it. Alright, that should make it easier. There we go, fell right in. Alright, so let's try this again. Now I gotta get it through the plastic. Man, having all kinds of problems here. I guess I should have wallowed out that hole with the drill a little bit to make it a little bigger. Let's try that. Just I got a really bad habit of always making sure everything fits really, really tight. And I never leave myself enough wiggle room to get things assembled. Alright, so now try to get my hand under here, get this washer on here on the back side so that it doesn't pull through the plastic. Now for this one, oh, that stud keeps falling out. Okay, for this one I'm just going to use a regular pop rivet gun because I can't get in there with the other one. Excuse my head if it's in the camera. Pretty hard to squeeze these big rivets. It's pulling in good. Oh my goodness. Come on. Ah, there we go. Now the good thing is, for the next two, I can use the big rivet tool and it'll be a whole lot easier. Alright, so, same thing, we're going to use the holes in the bracket to drill the holes in the fender. There's one. Let's see if I can get it assembled now. Need a rivet, a washer. Get to use the big heavy duty rivet tool. There. Rivet in. See if I can get the washer on. How am I supposed to get my hand in there? There we go. So much easier with that big rivet tool. Alright, I'm going to come around the other side and get this one drilled and set. Alright, hole drilled. Now these are stainless steel rivets and stainless steel washers, so I don't got to worry about them rusting and getting all nasty looking. Rivet in, washer on the back side, rivet tool on, and there we go. That ain't going nowhere. Probably actually a little bit of overkill, but that's alright. I'd rather have it too strong than not strong enough. Alright, so the next step is get the screw in the bottom. Now I got these nice little button head screws. They take a Torx driver. These ones are T25. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use the one hole from the original foot peg mount. Let's see here. You see what I'm doing? So this way I don't have to make any additional holes. I'll just pull that out a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Just got to make sure that screw is going to clear the chain, and it does. And you just kind of got to tweak it into shape. And it looks pretty good from the back. I just want to... So I'm going to say that this concludes my fender modification project and my little bit of fab work, and hopefully it gives you folks out there in YouTube land some ideas, and you can fab up your brackets and do what you got to do. Don't be afraid to work on your bike. Fabrication is not that hard. Just take your time, think it through. I do that. I make changes as I'm going along. You know, you modify things as you're going. But yeah, if you like the projects I'm doing, like, subscribe, comment, ask questions. I do answer my comments. Thanks for watching.